You're familiar with Aesop's fables.
Yeah.
The little moral that's inserted
Yes.
after every one is later.
Yes.
I don't like those at all.
I hate them.
Good. So I guess the question I had for you then is, you read these stories to your children. And what's interesting is you tell your child a story that's kind of more chronological, historical, factual, and they might have a lot of questions about it. You read them a fairy tale that makes no sense, and they never say, "Hang on a minute." Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
They have a sense for the rhythm of fairy tales that is innate. It's very strange, but it's absolutely true.
Yeah, and why is it there, or should we then refrain from trying to draw out a nice, neat little moral for our children as we read this?
I think refraining is best. I'm not the only one to make this argument. Viggo Goroin, in his wonderful book, Tending the Heart of Virtue, also tends to underline the fact that the stories themselves are formation enough for most people.
That's right.
But sometimes they have questions. Sometimes they want to know more, sometimes, especially as they get older. Yeah. With a very gentle hand, carefully, yes, you can go into the elaboration but try not to make it into a moral.
Yeah.
Because they turn off as soon as they understand that you're talking at them. That's it. They're not paying attention anymore.
So we're the same age. Did you ever play Sonic the Hedgehog?
Yeah, of course.
So there was a cartoon they made on that, and I remember at the end of every cartoon, Sonic came on the screen and he told you a little lesson. And I remember just being so...
See, I don't even remember that, so I must have blocked it out.
I think it was Sonic. Yeah, go on. Let me know in the comments if I'm right or not. But I just remember being so disappointed. I was just so bored immediately. And you think, well, why? I mean, I'm sure the creators of Sonic didn't see that coming. It's like, no, they love Sonic. Yeah. They've just seen this wonderful little adventure with Sonic and Tails, and now Sonic's going to tell them some wisdom. So they'll want to hear it. And I have a distinctive memory of my just heart falling. I don't know how else to explain it. I just was like,
that's a very good expression. I love that expression because that's exactly what it is. So children are much better at understanding what's...
Are you trying to look that up?
I got it.
Shut up. What did you find?
It's called Sonic Says, and he pops up in front of a giant...
Is there any quotes there?
Well, they're videos, but I don't think we should play them. No.
What not to
if
do?
you think you're a girl, then you are one. Wait, what?
Oh, dear.
Dude,
I don't remember this.
Non-binary bison. That's in my search history now, by the way.
Oh, lovely. Okay, that's great. That's great.
But okay, so it was Sonic. But yeah, so what is it? What is it about that then? That switch from
I have no idea. But look.
Great answer. I love that.
Well, it's true. But they know.
What is this? Are you trying to trick me?
Okay, so I told you this a little bit before. Kids are not bothered by the things that we think they should be bothered by. Violence, they don't see it like we do. They don't see the vivid imagery. For them, violence is a very stark expression of reality. They understand consequences, right? They understand that they live in a chaotic world. They understand that they're sometimes not in control of their emotions.
There are monsters under the bed.
Yeah, they know this is true, right? So they're not interested in the morals that tell them it's fine, there are no monsters under the bed. They know that there are monsters under the bed. It's
there
like
are
that,
witches who want to eat children.
Yes. It's like that quote. It's Chesterton and Lewis who talks about how, we shouldn't... Chesterton, right? About the teach them how to kill the dragons, not that there aren't any dragons. Something like that, right? But just as a vivid example of this. So the Charles Perrault version of Cinderella, which is a very Enlightenment version, and it's all about Cinderella being a very passive, good girl that receives everything she is due because she is a passive, pious girl who doesn't do anything. The Grimm version is much grimmer.
Yes.
And she's not passive. She's quite active. She does things that are expressions of her piety, but they're active involvements in her life. The end of the story is quite violent.
Let's do it. Let's tell it.
Okay.
Because it's one of my favorites.
So
there's two different versions of it, I think, that I've read. But
maybe. But the one I'm thinking of, there probably are different recensions. But okay, so you know how in the Disney version she always has the birds on her shoulders?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's actually a very dark thing.
Okay.
Because when she comes into the church to be married to the prince, as she walks in, one of the doves, they're doves, right? So they're images of the spirit, clearly. The Grimms were a particularly Calvinist kind of Christians, but they were Christians. They walk in, the first dove picks out the first set of eyes of each of the daughters. Yeah. And after the ceremony, they come out, the second dove comes and pecks out the second set of eyes. Kids don't mind that. They don't. They understand the concept of these these sisters are vile. In the Grimm version, they don't ask forgiveness.
Right.
They try to ingratiate themselves
Yes.
to their now powerful sister.
Yes.
They're playing power games. There is no forgiveness to be given because they have not asked for forgiveness. So then the last thing that can happen is a kind of eucatastrophe. It's a brutal one, but it is a kind of restoration of order. They were blind
Now,
in their entire lives. Now they're blind for real.
Yeah, I might be misremembering this, but wasn't the mother given a pair of like scorching hot slippers and she had to dance until she died?
That's one of the versions. I'm not sure that's the Grimm version though.
Okay.
Yeah. I do, in the Grimm version, they cut off their toes, the
that's
elder
right.
sisters, and their heels, which is, how do you cut off a heel? I don't
With
even
a
know.
very sharp knife. I think.
Maybe. I can't even imagine how you would do that. At least the toes are, articulated.
Yeah, look, I just want to encourage everyone right now who's a new parent especially, because I was just joking with you earlier, although it wasn't a joke, that being a father, a lot of it has just been dying to all of my ideals.
Oh boy.
Like
Ain't that the
before you
truth?
have kids, you've got all these ideas, you've got all this advice to give to everybody who doesn't have kids. And, you might think, gosh, I wish we were the kind of family that could sit around and read The Lord of the Rings, but, I'm pretty sure my kids have ADD and I'm pretty sure I want to be with my wife and I don't want to read this long with my children. It might be all sorts of things. But the fairy tales are your friend because it'll take you 10, 15 minutes to read, and it's a self-contained story. It doesn't have to go on to the next night, and the children love them.
Look, they love it in spite of their objections to it. So I started to reread Pinocchio to my kids, and Pinocchio is very, very much in the real Pinocchio, the Carlo Collodi original.
Yep.
It's very much in the story, in the fairy tale tradition.
Yeah.
Very much.
The underworld.
Yes. No, the rhythms are all there. It's a little bit preachy, but the kids don't notice it. And I'll tell you, I started to reread it. My 8-year-old was going to be 9 soon. Initially, I was like, please, I've read this so many times. Please don't do it. 5
Your kids
seconds.
are so much cooler than mine.
Well, 5 seconds into the reading.
Yeah, 5 seconds into the what?
5 seconds into the reading, he's completely absorbed. Completely. So it overcomes their own objections to the stories themselves. So do it.
It's beautiful.
And they don't care about the violence. It doesn't.
And
it
read
doesn't
the
hurt
violent
them.
ones. The
Yes.
more violent, the better. Now
You'll
we've
have to
got
go
a
rescue
link.
your father from the belly of the whale.
Jordan Peterson, well done. So we've got a link to your book in the description. But yeah, if you're going to get a Brother Grimm's fairy tale, make sure it's the original. Hey, thanks for watching that clip. Would you like this beautiful, very high quality, definitely not made in China, not that there's anything wrong with that, Pints with Aquinas beer stein for free, sent to your door? Would you also like a copy of The Jill sent to your door 4 times a year? This is the Pints with Aquinas newspaper, by the way. If you do, go to mattfradd.locals.com and become an annual supporter for any amount. We'll send you that stuff for free, and you get a bunch of other free things in return. You'll get more information by going over to mattfradd.locals.com. Thanks.